Being in my 30s, I start to realize my body gets a bit slower. I recover slower and my time is getting lesser and lesser. But this is a record of my workouts, my commitment to working out. And I've been working out for close to 3 to 4 years now. And I hope that I can share some of this motivation and any of these tips and tricks that I may have with you guys. And so the first thing that I want to share is about diet. I think it's very difficult with the Singaporean diet to cut down carbs or eat less fats. But at least with working out, I kind of place a bigger priority on consuming protein and ensuring that my protein intake hits a certain level. But definitely, for sure, if I don't watch my diet, like how much calories I take in, it definitely has an impact on my body, and I'll gain weight, pretty quickly. And I think that's something that just comes with age. I also try to consume more fruits these days, especially grapes and blueberries. I think that, as a lazy person, these are very, very easy fruits to prepare. You literally just need to pluck them, wash it, and then you're good to go. And it's pretty worth it because they are also packed with a lot of nutrients and vitamins that, honestly, an aging body really needs. So, on to my workouts. I do try to work out at least 2 to 3 times a week and to go there after work rather than before work because I'm really not a morning person. I also think some people prefer to work out after dinner, but I think working out before is better so I don't feel bloated or want to vomit halfway through the workouts. And as for my workouts, I try to stick to 3 to 4 sets. The first set is usually the warm-up, like as you can see. I try to go about maybe 50% of my max weight to try to stretch the muscles, to get the blood flowing, and making sure that my joints are activated, his body's warm. And then I will go on to the other sets. It's usually either my max or close to my max weight. And I, of course, try to maintain the form that I do for the last few sets. And I think the priority here is making sure that I do at least close to failure so that I know that the muscle is being worked out. One important thing is I try to make sure my workout stays within 1 hour, although actually this is more of like a time restriction that I've put on myself because I think it's a bit ridiculous to stay in the gym for more than an hour or even close to 2 to 3 hours. Also maybe because as I grow older, I have more things to do, I have more responsibilities, and sometimes work calls at night as well. And so it's easier to force myself to just stick to 1 hour. And in my workouts, I try to hit as many muscle groups as I can, especially the compound muscle groups. Of course, ultimately it also depends on what are the machines that are available in the gym, So a few main areas I try to hit are usually my back, which is one of the largest muscle groups you have, then my legs, then my chest, and I try to also work out my core to help with balance and mobility. For this rowing exercise in particular, I like to split it into 2 parts. So first, as you can see, I'm doing a one-handed row. This is so that I can target my lats better, to stretch the back better. And as you can see, I'm also pointing my hand up when I do the rowing motion. This helps to engage a bit more of your lats rather than the upper back. And I think this is a good exercise generally for guys because it helps you to build that V shape that looks good on your back. Then I also like to switch it up and add in a second exercise after I finish the first set, which is to target my upper back, which will be more of your center of the back and closer to the traps. And so with this exercise, I also try to turn my hand downwards and create more of a V shape when I'm pulling and doing the rowing. And in case you are wondering, I'm only recording my first and my last set. So the first set would be my warm-up set, and so a general rule of thumb I have for myself is I try to stretch the muscle as much as I can at the first set. This helps to get all the blood rushing and flowing into the area. And then for the last set, it's really, your body is primed and ready to lift as heavy as it can. And as you can see here, I'm doing my best to just pull it and engage. And I try to hit generally 8 to 9 for my sets. I do think that if you can do more than 12 reps, maybe that's a bit too much, and you should probably consider increasing the weight instead and doing a lower rep range, like maybe 8. And I think 8 is a very good sweet spot where it's good for growth, and you don't overexhaust that muscle, and you don't run the risk of injury, which is also the important thing that I want to talk about. Because I think as you go on into your 30s or 40s, it's actually more important to ensure that as you keep fit, you don't risk getting injured, because not only does injury slow down your progress, especially at our age, you actually recover slower, and the injury could also progress into something chronic or long term, like stiff neck or stiff shoulders, and it's not really good for you if you want to keep fit but you have all these problems stacking up. And one of the ways to reduce your risk of injury is to use machines or something even like this, which is the Smith machine, where the weights move in a fixed path, and there are certain safety checkpoints that can be used, such as a stopper, or even for the Smith machine itself, if you twist the bar in, it just stops there. So I think it's helpful to take note of all these, especially as you're getting older, because you really don't want to risk getting injured. I think another thing that is very common as we grow older is you will start to stack up more and more injuries, and these may come from accidents or maybe just overexertion. So for me, I have a back injury. I have a lower back slip disc, so I have to be very careful when I do exercises, especially those involving the back. And as you can see here, I'm doing my best to keep my back straight as I do the rowing, so that I don't put too much of a strain on my lower back in the wrong position. So these are the things that I try to take note of. I usually end off my workouts with shoulder exercises, because these are small and isolated muscle groups, but they are also important for people who work at desk-bound jobs like me, because desk-bound jobs usually encourage bad posture. You hunch forward to type, to look at a computer screen, and you are sitting for long periods of time. And so having stronger shoulders, or at least working out your shoulders, helps to helps the blood flow in that area, and helps you to relieve some of the pain that may come with having stiff shoulders. And as I mentioned earlier in my video, as I grow older, I think it's very, very important to consume more protein, because this helps with muscle recovery and also to build muscle. And especially as we grow older, I find myself having a harder time recovering from workouts, because my body simply just doesn't function like the way it used to. My muscles stay sore and aching for longer, and so having a higher protein diet does help me a lot. And I try to include like a scoop of protein after each workout to ensure that my muscles get the nutrients that they need to continue to grow and to recover. And I know that a lot of people recommend making it into a protein shake, adding milk or other ingredients into it, but I found myself gaining a lot of weight when I started to add milk into my protein. And also nowadays I just add water. It's actually quite disgusting to drink, but it works. And so there you have it. That's just how a typical workout day for me looks like. Hope you enjoyed this content. Please leave a like, comment and subscribe, so I know that at least someone's out there listening.